everybody. I'd like to welcome you to this Urban Renewal meeting of November 5th, 2025 at 5 p.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Dennehy, absent. Commissioner Grantham.
Here.
Commissioner Hamrick.
Here.
Commissioner Maloney.
Here.
Commissioner Reeser.
Here.
Commissioner Smisher.
Here.
Commissioner Stein. Absent. Commissioner Tracy. Absent. Commissioner Troutman.
Here.
Commissioner Worthington.
Here.
And that is a quorum. If you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, liberty, justice for all. Thank you for that. And do we have any citizens that would like to speak to the commissioners on an item not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move ahead. We have our consent agenda, which is approve the minutes from the July 9th, 2025 meeting and receive and file cash disbursements. Is there anything that you need to review in the agenda and consent agenda there, Mr. Executive Director?
No, sir.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections? Yes.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. What benefit does the Urban Renewal Authority receive for being a Downtown Colorado Inc. member? I know that the city of Canyon City is already a member. So if you could walk us through that decision. Thanks.
It's similar to the benefits that the city receives. We actually get more interaction with DCI through the URA side of things with our monthly URA update calls. But we get access to meetings, trainings for free, whereas others would pay if they were not members of DCI.
And Rick, this is one membership that gets split between the two.
That's correct.
Okay, wonderful. So we aren't paying for two separate memberships. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? And I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of the July 9th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Hamrick.
Aye.
Commissioner Maloney.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeser.
Aye.
Commissioner Smisher.
Aye.
Commissioner Troutman.
Aye.
Commissioner Worthington.
Aye.
And we now have our financial report from our treasurer.
All right. I hope everybody had coffee before the meeting. This is a 6-month report. I'll be fast. Promise. Shut up. All right. In April, we had a beginning balance of $1,726,815.44. We had a $30 stop payment fee, loan repayment to the city for $5,421.62, a TIF reimbursement to TZAC, $10,070.26, software services, $225, and the downtown Colorado membership that Commissioner Smisher was referring to for $3,000, giving us an ending balance in April of $1,708,068.56. In May, we had a McCaslin Glass fire line reimbursement of $5,000, loan repayment to the city, $5,421.62, and legal fees of $175, leaving us with a balance of $1,707,000 for $1,700,000. This is way bigger than the balance in my checkbook. $1,707,471.94. In June, we had another loan repayment to the city for $5,421.62. Software expenses, $5,964. The Sierra Group CCD offset, not sure what that is, Ryan. $7,500. It must be some TIF reimbursement thing because we also had 428 South 9th, which was also a CCD offset.
Sierra Group is the owner of the the management company of the building that houses Harbor Freight. I can't recall at the moment what that would be.
It sounds, is it not a facade grant?
Well, we issued them a check for $7,500. So
Wasn't
help-
that-
That's the facade
That would've been-
grant.
facade grant, okay. And so the 428 South 9th is also a facade grant?
Correct.
Facade insurance office, $9,150. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Covered by the offset.
And then we have a recreation district share back, $8,167.42. Pharisee Ford TIF reimbursement, $12,390.32. Printing services with master printers, $40. And then the Canyon City Schools share back, $138,687.45, leaving us a balance of $1,520,151.13. In July, the Catchmers paid us $5,000 for a fire line reimbursement. We had that loan repayment to the city again. I'm not going to read the amount again. Fire district share back $131,126.58. Ray Lippis excavating $127,310.26. City administrative services, two different amounts. $10,961.06, $20,948.74. A TZAC property tax reimbursement, $1,516.30. Musty Marmot Building Systems Grant, $25,000, and Pharisee Ford Property Tax Reimbursement, $50,572.09. Leaving us $1,145,294.48. Two more months. Actually, three more. August, we had a beginning balance of $1,145,294.48. Loan repayment to the city and software services for $300, leaving us a balance of $1,139,572.86. In September, master printers paid us for a fire line reimbursement, $5,000, loan repayment to the city, proficient property management building systems grant for $25,000, and software services for $1,500. Ending balance in September, $1,112,651.24. Finally, in October, Nova Property Management, which is 331 to 327 Main fire line reimbursement, $5,000. We received TIF revenue of $104,017.16. Loan repayment to the city and admin fees to the city of $10,677.74. Ending in October, $1,205,569.04. Phew! Any questions? Are you all sleeping?
Would you give us those?
No. Anybody have any questions? That was a mouthful. Come on, Amy, I'm so disappointed.
It was such an excellent report. I mean, gee.
Thank you. I'm not going to miss a meeting ever again.
Thank you for that. And now we have the executive director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. We have been working and talking with 4 Mile Ranch with their developments and looking at the potential new TIF area out there. Those conversations are continuing to happen. We are looking to schedule a special meeting with 4 Mile Ranch. We had looked at dates next week. It looks like that is probably not going to work, but we were also looking at the week after. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to Cindy about it today. We're going to pull together a few other dates and times to present to you guys soon.
But if there are any dates the week of the 17th that do not work, that would be helpful to know now so we don't propose dates that aren't working. If you all know.
The week of the 17th, I believe that we have city council on the 17th, that we have a stakeholders group with the former Clark Station property on the 18th, that we have a city council meeting on the 19th. And I have a personal commitment on the 20th that I can move. Thank you.
And there's planning commission on the 20th.
I'll be in North Carolina all week.
All week.
I'm flexible.
Thank you.
I'll be here.
We'll
It's an
put
evening
together-
meeting, correct?
We could probably go whatever time works for anybody, honestly.
Oh. My evenings are pretty open.
4 Mile will make work whatever we need.
Commissioner Grantham?
We talking about the 13th? 17th now.
The
Okay.
week of the 17th.
Week of the 7th. Okay. I was still going off that email from 13th. Monday the 17th. Okay, the whole week. Meh. Most afternoons are okay, except for Tuesday.
Okay.
And I have Monday open. Starting Tuesday, if I can participate, it will be by Zoom.
Could be day or evening.
Sorry, am I incorrect that we have city council meetings the 17th, 18th, and 19th? The 18th being a stakeholders meeting for the former Clark Station property. So we are not talking about having a separate meeting in the evening, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Probably not, unless it was after the vision meeting on Wednesday.
Thanks.
All right, we will try and get some dates out to everybody and firm something up. And see if that works with the 4 Mile group. Rick, do you have any other updates on any additional projects or additional inquiries coming in?
I do not right now, no. It's been pretty slow.
Okay. With that, we move to our public hearing for the 2026 budget. And so I'd like to open the public hearing. And Mr. Executive Director, would you care to report?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. We have submitted the budgets. It was submitted by the due dates for statutory requirements by October 15th. And in this budget, we are proposing an estimate of $768,665 in revenues, with expenditures at $1,274,061. That is a deficit that we would have to dip into reserves of $505,396. A big part of that is looking at a potential catalyst project with the 4 Mile Ranch group. And that some of that will actually be discussed at one of those future meetings that we're trying to get scheduled. But they are looking for a project to jumpstart some of the development out there. And it has the potential to be a partnership between the developer, the Urban Renewal Authority, and the city.
Is that the 400?
That is the 400, yes, sir.
Okay.
We do have $275,000 in grants budgeted. That includes our life safety grant, the facade grant, and the building systems grants. And covers our debt service, and then the operations, and the big piece of the operations budget are those share backs. You do see a dip in revenue. Dip in revenue is in large part because of the sales tax numbers coming in lower. So there's not as much increment being generated from the city side. And we see page 6 of the budget has the breakdown of each of those various categories. Going back to those grants, we have 150,000 budgeted for the life safety grant, 75,000 for the facade grant, and 50,000 for the building systems grant. Rick, anything else you'd like to add from the budget?
No, actually, I think in terms of the grants, those are probably pretty good totals. We have, we're at commitments right now of, cash payments on grants right now. This year, we're at $226,000 total, which we budgeted 270,000. We've got a few more projects out there yet. One, we may have to ask the applicant to reapply next year because they don't seem to be making progress this year. The rest of them seem to be moving forward. So I think in terms of those grants, everything looks pretty good. And revenue, I would have to agree, probably would be less next year, at least plan on less next year.
Happy to answer any questions.
And are there any questions from the commissioners? Yes.
Thank you. I do have a couple. With regard to apologies. With regard to the expenditure proposed detail, I was wondering about the 2025 estimate on software titles. It's actually higher than the 2026 budget. Did we try something out and it didn't work?
On software titles?
Yes.
That's on page 6.
Yeah.
That might be a Tammy question.
Yeah, Tammy, I know you're online. Are you, do you have that detail up? Let me step away from the computer.
Turn the audio on. Okay, I had to turn the audio on. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we implemented, I don't remember if we ended up going live at the end of 24 or in 25 with Springbrook. So we had some one-time costs in software for 25.
Awesome. Thank you, Tammy. That explains that. Could I also ask the next several categories? We didn't have any 2025 expenses in printing, publications, membership fees, meals, other fees and charges. And now it looks like we're planning to add a lot of line items and purchased services. Wondering why those are necessary.
That's a you question, Rick.
They're simply just forwarding the balances from the previous budget into this one. We have them there in case we have expenses. We have not incurred expenses. We will on the membership fees if we're paying that out of the DCM membership out of this right now. So those are just base budget numbers that were carried forward.
Okay. I mean, I would rather not see additional expenses in URA and that all of the money in URA really go back into remediating blight and kind of spurring that reinvigoration of the URA area. So if we didn't really need them in 2024, and we don't really think that we'll need them in 2025, I'd rather see those monies reinvested back into the purpose of URA.
I think we could probably lower them down to 500, but we probably should still have some of those in there in case the expenses do come up. For example, publishing and publications and advertising for the public hearings and things like that. We will have expenses there depending on what, we don't know what projects might come up that require a public hearing.
So like this evening is a public hearing, but we don't have any estimated expenses in that line item. Is that just like, will there actually end up being
there will be
Okay.
an expense in there for the public hearing tonight for the publications.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think if we can look at lowering them as much as feasible, if the rest of the commission concurs.
Well, are you saying that I'm looking at 2026 budget, there are $1,000 in there. Are you suggesting that that be 500 instead of 1,000?
I believe that that is what
Is
staff
that what you're
is.
suggesting?
We could do that instead. Yes, we budgeted in 2025 the same amounts. We just haven't incurred any expenses
I see
or
that.
minimal expenses.
Yeah, and I think they should stay in there because you don't know, but if they're not used, they're not used. But to put a figure in there would be appropriate. So I think we could do that. That's what I would do.
And I think really only the meals, if there were to be meals, I would see that happening more on travel. But I also have a meals budget on the economic development side that is tied to a P card. We don't have a P card for the URA, so the meals would have to be charged separately to probably a different conference or something like that. Definitely
Yeah,
could
I don't
lower
think
it.
we have any travel or training in here for
No,
staff. Like I think that anything that you went to, you would essentially be going on behalf of the city in your economic development manager role.
Yep.
My other question is just talking about the grants and the breakdown. You know, it does seem like we had 75,000 budgeted for facades and only estimate that we'll spend 30,000 of that this year. I also loved the very long list in the C-Care report of all of the facades that have been done downtown. And, you know, you can just see it. We actually walked up and down Main Street today, visiting various shops and restaurants. And you can see like all of the facade work that's gone on through the Urban Renewal Authority. But I am wondering about the need to budget 75,000 for that, given that we didn't hit that mark this year, or don't envision that we'll hit that mark this year. And so many facades have already been done. And when we're looking at, you know, reducing the life safety grant and the building systems grants where, you know, significantly more has been done there, does it make sense to maybe shift some of those numbers? So if we could just hear a little bit more from staff on your rationale as to how you came up with that breakdown, that would be appreciated.
So the 150 for the life safety grant, that's traditionally what we have done. For 2025, we budgeted 200 because there was a carryover from a previous year's project. I think we had this similar type of situation with the building systems grant.
there was one that carried forward, yes,
Yeah.
into this year. One or two actually that carried forward into this year. I don't know that I have that on me at the moment.
But
There were
if, oh, go ahead.
two that carried forward into this year that impacted that budget line item.
I guess my question is really, do you anticipate $70,000 worth of facade grant applications? Do you see that as continuing to be such a significant need, or has most of, because they're a one-time for the buildings in that area, or is that kind of we're starting to wane on that, and there are still many buildings that need fire suppression systems and HVAC and new roofs and the many things that it takes to keep a historic building running? Thanks.
I think, the life safety grant and the building systems grant are more targeted towards older and historic buildings. The facade improvement grant, I believe that is beyond just the historic corridor. Is that not correct?
Yeah, it's for the entire URA area, but it also applies to specific storefronts instead of just the building. So one storefront, a typical building downtown would have two storefronts. There can be two applications for one building if two individual businesses or the property owner in a business apply. So it really depends on the economy and the cash that people have to do the work on their buildings, and we really can't anticipate what that's going to be. I mean, we've had years where there were probably 10 projects and years where there were 3. So it's variable. But if the board wishes to change that, then we can certainly change that.
Well, if I may, from my perspective, to me, the most important things that we're doing there are the life safety grants and the building system grants, because that really does, pay back an awful lot, because we get to use a building for an economic purpose, whereas the facades are for existing buildings. And it would seem appropriate to me to shift some of that money, perhaps 40,000 or something like that over to the building system grant.
And for clarity on current commitments for the facade grant, the budget says 30,000. My spreadsheet has 52,500.
So you have 52,000 worth of grants right now for 2025,
Yes.
maybe 25,000.
Need to update the
No, the
estimate on that one.
Estimate is not accurate on that.
It's there can be a difference between anticipated and billed. So that's why that may not show up here, but
Certainly, I mean, if the board would wish to lower that, we can certainly lower that and manage the grant accordingly.
Rick, of the 52,000, are we expecting all of those to be completed this year, or do we need to carry some over for next year?
I don't believe we're expecting to carry anything over. Kevin Camerlo is working his right now. Combat Zone is working theirs right now. Lux Aesthetics is done. We haven't paid them yet. I don't know about master printers at the moment. I got to check on them. So I suppose it's a possibility they may have to carry forward, but I don't know for sure. And that's $7,500.
Yeah.
So I think maybe what I would propose is that we move 25 from the facade grant into the building systems grant. I think that shows the prioritization of the building systems grant while keeping a pretty healthy balance in the facade grant. That's kind of a flat line from where we were this year. If that sounds reasonable to the commission.
It would have to be a multiple of 7,500, wouldn't it? To move out of that.
It would probably be best to
it
be a
would.
multiple of 7,500. Yes.
Work easier that way.
And we could put the additional 2,500 from purchase services in there to help make the math. But yes, definitely make it a multiple of 7,500.
So you can do 6 facades for 45,000 or 7 facades for 52,500. Six, 7 facades.
So I think if you moved the 2,500 from purchased services down, then you could move 25,000 from facade into building systems, put the 2,500 into the facade, and then have 7 facades.
and these are budgetary numbers. If we as we go through the year and if we have a particularly deserving facade grant or building system grant or life safety grant, we do have the ability as a commission to adjust the budget. Is that correct?
We can move between line items, or the commission, the board can. Yep.
Okay. But it's good to have as realistic as we can get it.
What did you decide on? Did you decide anything or?
I agree. We could have either 6 or 7 facade grant, a number there, and then move the rest into the building systems grant or life safety grant.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 facades is $30,000.
Yeah.
So 30 would be,
Yeah, I think what we're looking at is 52,500 for the facade grant and 75,000 for the building systems grant.
so you want to move 25 out of the facade grant into the building systems grant?
Correct.
That would seem reasonable. Is that okay?
Other comments from commissioners? Yes, sir.
So a couple questions, I guess, on the revenue detail page. I guess from looking at the 200 that's budgeted for the sales tax increment, we're anticipating, or are we hoping that things are better than they were this year. Obviously 24 was pretty good, and we had every reason to think that it would be probably at the 300, and we had a third of that. That's shocking. So is there rationale for the 200, or other than it's less than what we hoped for this year, but it's more than what we got this year?
I think there's a little bit of, I guess, splitting the difference. You know, we have some, you know, the hotel is online now, which is contributing to the increment as well. So, you know, there's different businesses that have come online that are helping to contribute to that weren't there in, you know, for the full year in 25 and things like that. You know, we could skew that down a little bit further.
Not necessary for on the revenue side. I mean, if it's less than that, we're already 500, you know, taking 500 from the reserves on the bottom line. And so if it's less, then okay. If it's more, great. I was just curious on that one. I assume that we follow the same governmental accounting stuff. It has to be.
Yes.
The expense side is more critical.
It is.
Okay. On the expenditure detail, as far as the 1,000, that 5,000 on the, you know, the 1,000 per on each of those line items, I don't have a problem with that when we're talking about the 505 at the end, and that we're taking off of the balance. I think the 5,000 is decimal dust in that anyway. But I know I asked this question last year and help refresh my memory on this, but the other fees and charges, and the 39,900 and 24, the 43,650 this year, and the budget is 65. What does that include generally?
Tammy, do you want to go into the details on the other fees and charges?
And you are on mute.
I'm getting it off of mute. Sorry about that. Yes, so the other fees and charges are primarily the not the share back, it's the salary, basically salary share back from of the city that is charged to the URA on that. And then also in other fees and charges, if we have any bank fees or such like that, those come under there. But that's primarily it.
I remember from it is now. I just remember from last year because it was such a large line item compared to everything else in there, but it's sort of like a miscellaneous and anything else kind of a line. If there are larger categories within that, it should probably have its own descriptor in there. And then another fees and charges kind of line item should probably have far less than that. If you know what I'm saying. I do remember the suggestion last year, and I'm suggesting it again.
Sorry for interrupting.
No.
One thing that we had done is the first year we were doing the budget, we actually had all of the increment share backs listed under the other fees and charges.
Right.
And so we broke those out and started budgeting them independently. And we went ahead and did an entry to move them from other fees and charges to the appropriate line item so we could start seeing some history there. If we would like the administrative fees under a program expense, we can look at doing that.
Thank you for that reminder, Tammy. I forgot about that. That was a whole lot bigger, I think, last year than it is this year.
It was.
Okay. Thank you for that. That's good. And just a quick reminder on what is the debt service? What is that debt service on?
When we started the urban renewal, in order to do some projects, took a loan out from the city. So it's repaying money from the city. So we took that loan and installed a sewer line over
Okay.
at the Skyline Steel
Okay.
property.
Okay. And the 400, we're going to be hearing more about that, I assume, in upcoming meetings.
Yes, sir. And that would be approved by the board before it was ever expended.
Right. Okay. And that's obviously the biggest part of the reserve
Yes, sir.
that is being taken down, I guess.
Right.
So it just in general, Ryan, what kind of a project might that be? As far as what that 400 might be spent on?
Yeah, they're looking at a road extension from Charles Bronson Boulevard connecting into the neighborhood over there on the west side of 4 Mile Ranch.
Okay.
To try and activate some additional parcels over there.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have, sir.
Go ahead. Me?
Yes, please.
I just have a question and I keep seeing this and I have seen this. Local funding, $20,000. What's that?
What,
It's
I'm sorry, what page are you
in
on,
the
sir?
revenue detail? It's on 5. Local funding is $20,000 estimate, and there were no other in the previous years are budgeted. There's no other numbers. It just go ahead.
That is the revenue that we received from, or basically the reimbursements from the businesses for their fire lines.
Yeah,
Wow.
when we did the fire
Main Street.
project with the businesses on Main Street, we did it as a share. So that was their $5,000 payback to the city for us doing the project.
Is that pretty much caught up then? There'll be more of it, or is that it?
We are close.
We're
I'm
close.
working on the last
Okay.
of the payments.
Okay, thanks.
And they had 6 months in the agreement to make the payment, and we're right around that time for the last ones. So I was reminding today actually about that.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Commissioner Hamrick. Just going back to the line Commissioner Grantham was asking about on other fees and charges, and that primarily being the salary share back. Do you know what percentage of the city administrator and the economic development managers salaries are charged, and what other staff members is the URA paying towards?
I do not have that offhand. That was something that was originally approved by the Urban Renewal Board. But we've got finance, portions of finance salaries are part of that. So that's some of Tammy's time. Specifically, our sales tax person who has to do a lot of the adjustments for sales tax increment. Tammy,
I have those breakdowns.
you have that breakdown handy?
Yes. So for the city administrator, it is 5%. For our general accounting technician, which would cover accounts payable, is 5%. Finance director's 3%. The accounting manager, who is over the sales tax and cash receipting, is 3%. The sales and use tax technician is 5%. The economic development manager is 10%. The city clerk and the multimedia technician are each 1%.
Thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome.
I have a further question on that. So on the city side of the ledger, how are those, how do we handle it there? Do we show the full, for instance, the full city administrator salary and then show a reimbursement to that salary? How does that come over onto the city side of the ledger?
On the city budget, you will see the full expense of the salaries in the appropriate departments. You will then see a revenue for the urban renewal administrative fees. So it comes in as a revenue on the city side.
Thank you. Yes,
So I have a formatting question that would make it easier for me to sort of look at this. I've done budgets a large part of my financial career. To me, it would be helpful if we had a column that was a quarterly actual column. Because I mean, this is November and we aren't seeing 2025 actuals. So it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, well, the 2026 budget ought to be this when I can't see any information for the actual expenditures for 2025. So
we can provide a quarterly financial statement. So we can start uploading one of those if that makes it better for the board.
it would also be helpful if we could put it on this expenditure detail so that when we're approving the budget for next year, we could actually have a column that shows us what to-date actuals are. Would that be too difficult, Tammy?
So the document actuals, since the budget document is due October 15th, your actuals would be through September 30th.
That'd be third quarter. I think that would be helpful. I don't know how the rest of you feel about that.
that would be helpful.
Thank you, Tammy.
No
The-
problem.
If you don't have the video, there were a lot of nodding heads up here.
Well, I mean, we could take 9 months and then extrapolate it into a 12-month estimate for actuals. So that would be.
Yep.
Pretty easy math.
No, it was not nodding. No,
Thank you,
that was
Tammy.
Nodding in agreement, perhaps. Let me be more specific. It seems, not being really a financial person myself, it seems a little strange to show the money that the URA would loan to a developer as a capital expense. Those are capital items that they spend money on. I mean, like roads and sewer lines and things like that. Correct. But is that jingle anybody else up here?
And I don't know that we have figured out the format of how that money will go out, whether it will go directly to the developer or not.
Maybe it might be better to call it capital projects or something like that, because capital, if I'm thinking of capital for URA, I'm thinking of things we're going to buy, that we're going to, a new podium up here or something like that, but.
Yeah, and it is listed as an urban renewal project.
They are. Mhm.
I think it's a little bit early to tell what those expenditures would be categorized as.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Any further comments by the commissioners? Seeing none if there's any member of the public that'd like to address us on the issue of the URA 2026 budget, that now would be the time. Seeing none,
Can I ask one question, please?
Sure. Please.
So you were talking about moving funds between line items. I want to make sure that I captured all of those. And that we have not actually changed the bottom line of the budget. Because if we have, then our ordinance needs amended. So I need to kind of get a recap of those. What I saw was the life safety grant was still left at $150,000.
Yes,
The facade grant, was it change? Is
The
it
facade-
52,500?
yes,
Yep,
Okay, and then the building systems grant, 75,000?
yes,
Okay, so that line, that category went up by $2,500.
yes.
correct. And purchase services will decrease by $2,500.
Okay, which line items?
Multiple, the
So-
$1,000 moved to 500.
So postage, freight, printing, publications, membership fees, meals, other fees and charges. Each of those will go from 1,000 down to 500. So it will sorry, not other fees and charges, apologies. Postage, freight down to meals. Each of those will go from 1,000 down to 500. So that'll
Okay.
decrease that by 2,500.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, boy, we're allocating. Further comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And we're ready for a motion on the budget.
I would make a motion that we approve the budget as given to us with those changes that our administrator will take care of.
I'll second.
Thank you, commissioners. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Hamrick,
Aye.
Maloney,
Aye.
Reeser.
Aye.
Schmisher.
Aye.
Troutman,
Aye.
Worthington.
Aye.
Thank you. The budget has been adopted. We now move on to line item 9, discussion of the special review and consideration of a life safety grant application for Boys and Girls Club fire suppression system. Executive Director, or
I'll pass it over to Rick for the presentation.
Sure, the Boys and Girls Club has been going through decision-making process for several months now, whether they find a new building or rehab the existing building. They began rehabbing the existing building and were suggested by, I believe, one of their contractors that they reach out for a grant for the life safety improvements because they're putting in a fire suppression system, alarm, which all qualify under a life safety grant application. The challenge I have with this is that I can't recommend it necessarily because as a nonprofit organization, these grants are designed for commercial for-profits since they are using tax increment as their basis. However, nonprofit organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club are key to our community. They're very valuable to our community, and in a rural community that has, I guess you could say, struggles economically, nonprofit organizations provide services that for-profits don't in our community. So they provide a significant value, and I thought it was worth the attempt to bring the application to the board to see if the board was interested in moving forward with it, awarding it or not. The project has begun. Again, it's a nonprofit organization. Project has begun, but considering the positioning of the building downtown, potential future use of the building downtown, if the Boys and Girls Club were not there, I present it to you as an option for approval or denial as you see fit. And the CEO, Eric Thompson, is here to address any questions you might have.
thank you for that. Questions from the commissioners? I do have a question. My question is, what is the current zoning of that building?
I believe it's central business.
I think it is central business.
And that move that acts to support the
Correct.
conclusion that you reached. Other questions from the commissioner, comments?
Well, the $50,000 is not inclusive of the whole system. It is a portion of it.
It is a
Because that's-
portion of the system.
That's pretty cheap for a water suppression system.
Yeah, the entire bill is pretty sizable. It's $100,000.
Okay, so roughly we would,
Well, actually, qualifying amount is $134,000 total bill. 75% of that would be $100,000. The grant supports up to 75% of the cost of construction, cost of the system, up to a max of 50,000. So it's a small portion of $134,000.
Jerry, did you have a comment, question?
No, I wanted to, there was an issue, maybe you said something about the location or why we would consider not approving it.
There's two issues, based on how the grant is written. So, the grant is written for for-profit entities, and it is also written for, before the construction and work actually starts. So again, those would be exceptions that the board would have to make.
Yes.
So from my perspective, the first one, at least, I guess I don't have as much of a challenge or an issue with. I think that this is improving a building system in a key downtown building that, regardless of who the occupant was, with a change of use where you have more individuals coming in and out and it being activated, it would require likely some sort of fire suppression system. Given that it isn't a TIF shareback, it isn't set up as to be a TIF shareback. I don't know that it matters from my perspective that much whether or not this is generating an increase in TIF, because that isn't the way that it's designed. It's designed to improve downtown historic buildings. Could you speak a little bit more though about the second concern? Because I am worried about setting a precedent of folks having already started work and then applying for a grant. So I guess how much of the work has been done, and are there pieces of it that would still apply because they haven't been started? Or could you talk us through that a bit? Thanks.
From my perspective, in terms of a project, a life suppression system project starting prior to grant award, there's a lot of consistency. My concern is that a project would not be vetted by the city typically. In other words, they could come to the URA and say, I'm spending this much money, I deserve a grant, and we have no say in whether that total is accurate or not. There's also requirements that applicants go get competitive bids. And if they were to come to us after a project had begun, they hadn't gone through the bidding process, I could see that being a problem, that they could end up paying more than they should. We could end up paying more than we should on a grant. On the life suppression side of things, there are only a limited number of contractors in the community that will do that kind of work. And they all are very consistent in terms of cost. So I'm less concerned about whether we're getting railroaded by excessive estimates, because the cost of fire suppression is just climbing very quickly in our community. So from my perspective, I'm not as concerned about that. I mean, Eric is here. He can address other questions about what's in process, what's not in process, but if you'd like him to come up.
I think that would be helpful from my perspective, at least.
Yes.
So Rick or Ryan, are we, as far as seed care, are we prohibited from doing this? I'm trying to remember wording, as far as our original mission and
It's to remediate blight. That's our role in the Urban Renewal Authority.
but it doesn't distinguish between for-profit and not-for-profit.
No, it's the way the grant program was set up and approved by the board. That's why we as staff can't make a recommendation because of that.
But the alternative that is because it helps strengthen the tax base.
That is
where this doesn't necessarily, but it kind of might.
Yeah, I
where
think
we find ourselves in this funny little gray area here.
Yeah, I think the way to think about it is direct impact to the tax base versus indirect impact to the tax base.
And the future use of the building too will be a significant, or the future marketability, I should say, of the building will be much better with the system in there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thanks so much for being here tonight. Eric, would you mind just sharing where you are in this project? And kind of what,
Is it on?
what work
Okay.
is still left to be done? Thanks.
Sure. We're about 90% complete. Just waiting for the alarm company to come back. It has passed its initial inspection. And once they come out and hook the brain up to the fire suppression or the fire alarm, then there'll be a final inspection. Then that's it. It's complete. We were able to do this. The total cost of the project is $134,000. We won a grant a couple of years ago. We were able to purchase the building. I had $292,000 left over that I have to spend on improvements or lose. And $130,000 of that is going to be the fire suppression system and the alarm. So that $134,000 could have done a lot more in amenities for the youth and other things. But, we need the building. We're digging in and staying there. There's a zoning issue. We had to have the fire suppression system to address that issue to allow our youth to be inside the building. So it's a necessary expense for us. So regardless of the outcome here tonight and what you guys decide, it was a move we had to make, and I think it will be worth it in the long run. It's a 7,000 square foot building. It's an old livery stable. It's a really neat building for the youth center. I don't know if you've driven by there lately. We've installed a fence out in the front parking lot. We repainted the building, and a sport court is going in the spring for the youth here. And, after school programs is what the Boys and Girls Club provides for the community. And we scholarship and provide service to a lot of needy parents in the community. So it's a worthy cause.
Thank you for that. Yes.
From a school district perspective, I cannot thank you enough for what you do for our families, our students, our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any further comment? Questions from the board? The commissioners? Then I'm open to a motion.
Chairman Pro
Vice-
Tem, Vice Chair.
Vice Chair.
Vice Chair Hamrick, I move that we approve the life safety grant application for the Boys and Girls Club fire suppression system.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Hamrick,
Aye.
Maloney.
Aye.
Reeser. Schmisher.
Aye.
Stein.
Aye.
Troutman.
Aye.
Worthington.
Aye.
It has passed. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
We now move on to our
Mr.
second.
Chair, just one real quick question. Is that going on this year's, we were talking about carryover during the budget. Would that go on this year's grant expenditures?
Assuming that
Yes.
they finish the project this year and they would get
So it'll depend
reimbursed
on
this
that.
year.
Whether some is this year and some is next year, kind of a carryover thing, or
This one will not carry
this
over.
one will not carry over?
No, correct.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that question. We now move on to resolution 2 series of 2025, which is adopting the URA 2026 budget. And Mr. Executive Director, would you like to report?
Didn't you already adopt?
I think
The public hearing was just the budget. She wanted to do the resolution separately.
They took a motion after the public hearing.
And we did adopt the budget.
Yeah.
So we're good. Actually, we're good, which is good because we're also out of time. And with that, unless there's other business for the commission, we are adjourned.